My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success, and that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code. Hi everybody, Dan Young here with Dan's Millionaire Code. As you know, there is no charge for this podcast. It's here where people that are super successful, people that are millionaires, people that have built something from nothing are sharing their secrets with you. Do you have to buy something? Nope. All I ask you to do is you execute what you learn from these wonderful friends of mine that have come on today, and you share it with friends and relatives who could benefit as well. So today's guests are Teri and Flynn Paulson. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Got that?
Paulson.
And Flynn's a friend of mine. We hang out at this juice bar because we're into super healthy drinks called Water Fusions here in Salt Lake City. And I've probably bumped into him like 100 times, and we're always talking about life and things. And so he's brought his awesome wife in too as well. You guys are business partners.
Yes,
right?
we are.
I'm going to give kind of the consolidated version of what I know about your business because I know you guys as crazy entrepreneurs have a lot of stuff going. But here we go. Flynn and Teri created Integrated. Let me start again with this. You formed Integrate Solutions in 2000 to create a platform where businesses are able to utilize a one-stop shop for all their PEO and insurance needs. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you guys get into the details because it's an amazing engine that you've built there. You created this because there's a big need for different companies that have complex aspects of having employees, payroll, managing benefits, and all kinds of stuff for their business. Yeah. And you have literally now you're managing over 400 client companies, mm-hmm. and they have massive amounts of employees as well.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how it all works, though. I'm still trying to get a grasp because, like me, you guys got so many things going here. So
we do have a lot.
Yeah. So I think when we first got started, basically what we were doing is we were helping people set up businesses, mm-hmm. mostly construction companies, and that's kind of a long story how we got into all that. But basically we would help them get in business, and we would notice they would fail for certain reasons, and it was often because they weren't good at, accounting, payroll. All the back-end services is what they were not good at.
Yeah, I'd say compliance, red tape, government. No businesses like to deal with that. So we kind of said, well, we'll do it for you. So, yeah.
So how'd you guys think of this idea? You guys just, having lunch?
No, so I was working, we got married super young, and I was working at a title company, and Flynn was trying to figure out what the heck to do with his life. And he met some people that kind of were in this business, and they introduced us to the business, and then we just started learning about it when, in our early 20s, things like that. So we've been in this line of work for over 25 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah,
so I've been running our company now for about 27 years, our companies. Uh-huh. So about the same time, we all kind of got in there in the early 90s?
Early 90s,
yeah. I think I was 23 years old when we started at first.
Wow. So tell me how you guys got started. What was the grassroots? You see Jeff Bezos, with Amazon, he's sitting in his office. It's got a little banner that says Amazon. He's behind his computer. Tell me about your guys' beginnings.
So it was interesting. Part of the business was already started by another couple, the business setup aspect of it. And basically what I noticed was all these businesses would be set up. I was introduced to the individual that actually started it in the first place. And what I noticed is all of them, all these businesses had to get insurance when they set up. It was a requirement from the state. Uh-huh. And at the time, I was working at this little insurance agency while I was going to college, and I had this idea that, hey, these guys have to get this. We can provide it, and it's just like a natural pipeline. And so that's kind of where it started, and then it's morphed into something, obviously much larger than that now. I mean, the business setup part is tiny compared to the rest of it. Basically, the aspect where we run the staffing, the workers' comp, all that part is now by far the largest part of the business. But it started from there, and it started from basically almost nothing. We were in the back of a building off
Redwood Road.
Right
by the swap meet, 3646 South Redwood Road.
That's where I first got my first sales job for this
Right.
Ginsu knife sales.
Yeah.
Samurai outfit. Bowing a lot to people.
I think our original office rent was literally
$250
$250 a month.
$300.
It was
Wow.
There was an old office building, and we actually rented the garage in the back of the office building.
No way. So who wears what hats? I hear rumors says that you do massive amounts of work there and
Who told you that?
I asked him, I go, who does all that? He goes, she does he goes, I just, he's kind of, he's so humble.
No,
But
Flynn
gives you
is
some
so
massive-
smart. I would say I'm more on the operations, HR side. I think that, keeping great team members is really my most important job, and also taking care of those team members, because they take care of our clients. And so I feel like that's primarily what I do day to day, is to, anticipating what people need, keeping them moving forward, helping them grow, moving people into new positions when they're tired of the one they're in. So because of that, we've been able to retain some of our team members. Like, we have team members that have been with us 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. They've been with us since our kids were little, and now all of our kids are grown up. And so I think that that's probably one of the things that I do well is anticipating what people need, and then helping them, talk about it, having difficult conversations, candid conversations, and saying,
How many people do you have now?
70. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and we started really small. I mean, this business that we started in the 90s, I mean, that ultimately, wasn't under the Integrated name. It was under a different name. And when we started Integrated, again, we started out really small. We had 4 of us. I and one other person did the insurance, and Flynn and one other person did the payroll, and now we've grown to where we have over 70 team members.
Whoa.
So, yeah, but I think that that's really what I do. And also and then Flynn's he's so good with numbers and looking at
Are you the math guy? Are you the Vulcan guy?
Yeah, I am.
So, and then, but I would say what's really helped us be successful is having those long-term team members that have been really committed to helping us grow the organization. So I work really hard to take care of them. So.
Did you guys recruit this talent in, or did you home grow them? Or,
We've been good for the most part about just having homegrown talent. So I think one of the things that has helped us over the years is I know that typically you're supposed to benchmark everything, and we're very good at that right now.
Yes.
But we actually had some wins from not knowing what the benchmarks were, because we have some team members on the sales side that would have exceeded. Like, if I would have known the benchmark, we would have never done what we do today, because it's so much higher than some of those benchmarks. So
how you guys are performing? It's
correct. Yeah.
So you didn't know the benchmark?
Yeah,
so
so
you're
we
just
didn't
screw it.
We can do this.
So we made up our own benchmark, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have some, and I would say we have some really successful people. That we had the products, and then they had the hard work and the smarts and the initiative and the attitude, and just together we've really been able to accomplish a lot.
You guys have actually accomplished something amazing, because it's been almost 3 decades. You guys are running this.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. And the trippiest thing is you guys are married, and you haven't killed each other, and you've done well in your business and in your marriage. You guys seem super happy together and things like that. How do you balance that? How do give the advice to us entrepreneurs? How do we? What's the secret sauce to?
So, to be very honest with you, I think initially we were horrible about balancing it.
Yeah.
We were not very good to each other.
There was early on. We always talk about we have a reverse love story. We didn't really like each other much when we first got married.
Really?
I mean, we were teenage. I was a teenage pregnant mom. We didn't have any money.
It's all your fault, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just this one. We didn't have any money. We had a lot of chaos. We didn't live very deliberately. It was just kind of like we were just going every direction. We fought a lot, and then Flynn's dad has been such a big person in my life. He's always been into self-development and learning, so like he would like push us into like books on tape about how to improve our marriage, and like we've been to tons of self-development things over the years, from Deepak Chopra stuff to also like there's an impact trainings, Byron Katie, an organization called Avatar.
Wow.
I mean, over the years we've done a lot, and I mean we've had a lot of like this, but I think that like it was like early 2000. We just decided like we gotta be married or we gotta be divorced, but we gotta be happier. So we went on kind of like we worked on ourselves a lot, I would say.
And that really has been a good thing, because I think without that, especially working together, it's not worth it if you don't have that, because I mean no amount of money can fill that hole.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and so I think we still work on ourselves a lot, and so I mean when I start to get really upset with something with Flynn, instead of like it's Flynn's fault, I like start doing work on me. Go to hit a yoga class, and you have a lot of intuitive things that come through yoga, or a walk, or I do a lot of different things on paper, and it's interesting how a lot of judgments that you have on others are really self-judgment.
Wow. This is so cool. I mean, to me, my wife and I, we were business partners when we had worked at the swap meet on Redwood Road, and I sold Ginsu knives. She would round up people to come to the booth to watch me do my show. It was like a circus act. And then people would buy stuff. And finally she said to me, I don't want you to be my boss. And I go, I don't want to be your boss. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I like running all the business, those kind of things, though. And she's like, I like approving the big picture stuff of where we're going to go, what we're going to open, what are we going to invest in, and those kind of things. Because she has more common sense than just about anyone I know, because I have very little common sense sometimes.
But you're a good team.
And so I'm like, what do you think of that? She's like, dumb. I'm like, what do you think of that? Works. And then if she says, we can do this, I'm like, cool. And then I'll go out, get my sword out, put the shield up, hack away at it, and it works,
Yeah, so I think that's what's kind of been the recipe to our success in working together, is that I have a tremendous amount of respect for Flynn and trust, and I think that he does for me too, and so it makes it easy.
Yeah.
So
you guys are like pals. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah. It's so weird, because you don't. Again, it's just such a rare mix to see that working together and then married together.
Yeah, it's a lot. Sometimes, I mean, but I think that like we're to the point, like if Flynn needs to take off and go do something by himself or whatever, that's fine. But genuinely, we like to spend time together. So, but like I said, it wasn't always that way. It was.
No, I think a lot of people look at us and think you're crazy. How do you do that? But yeah, the last 10 years have been.
I'm going to be the first buyer of your book that you guys publish on how to make marriage and business work.
I don't know what that is. But.
I think that would be an awesome documentary of your life and how you've done it, because there's so many entrepreneurs out there that people are working together and they're married.
It's true, but I think that a lot of people do that, and I think it's also important to know like what people's skill sets are. Like we're to the point where it's like we kind of just look at a thing like if it's a piece of paper, and I can look at it and be like, that's Flynn, or like that's me, or that's our Linda, our general manager. I mean, we just kind of can look at things and know people's skill sets. And but I think another thing that's really been helpful in our business is that we've really dug into people's like what makes people tick. Mm-hmm. Like we use like a thing called the DISC when we like when we hire people, and we didn't use it at first for hiring, but used it as people were not getting along in the office, like they weren't communicating well, and so we reached out, and our business coach actually found it for us, and we said, everybody take this DISC. And so it's basically like it talks about like who you are, what your personality traits are, how you like to be communicated to, how not to communicate to people. And so we started using that, and then we started using it as like a hiring tool. And so basically like it's just been phenomenal, because like you can, if you are having a problem communicating with me, we give it to everybody in the whole office, and they can pull up mine and say, okay, well, Teri's not one to really want to talk about the whole entire weekend. She just wants you to get straight to the point.
Wow.
And so then people are like, okay, well, Teri doesn't want me to waste her time, so she gets straight to the point. So that's been a huge...
I'm going to try that. I'm going to take the test.
We'll get a take. We'll send it
Really?
to you to take. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I resisted it.
You took it?
For the record, I resisted the whole idea of it.
Oh.
But it actually does work. It's pretty amazing for just tendencies, for human tendencies, because you certain people have a tendency for detailed, type of work. Some people are salespeople.
Right.
Some people are relators, and you can force yourself to do any of those things, but after a while, it tends to have a bad result if you're having to force yourself to do something.
Yeah, we're all naturally good at things, right? And it's so much easier for us to do those things we're good at. So that's what we just try to focus on, people's strengths and build off of that. So that's been one really good thing. And then another thing I like is I love the EQ, the emotional intelligence. It's a book, and it measures like...
It's called the EQ?
EQ, yeah.
Okay.
It measures like how well you know yourself and how well you know others and how well you can interact with others. And so it's like a book you buy or a test you take online, and it kind of tells you like how you really do with that, and then it gives you tips on how to improve that, which in your emotional intelligence is something that they say you can actually improve over time. Like with your actual intelligence, it's kind of like you're born with it and it is what it is, but your emotional intelligence can actually improve. And so I actually think that that's been another real great thing that we've done. I don't know, you probably resisted that one too.
I need to do that because, you're making me think about all those mistakes that I continue to make.
As entrepreneurs, you make mistakes.
And one of them is, just in the last couple of years, I've been focusing more on the EQ type of focus and empathizing with people and things like that. And, and as I've grown these companies, typically it's like, look, just do that, get that done. If people give you resistance, my thought was, what's wrong with you, man? It's obvious.
Right.
Do that, you'll get the result. And some of the nuances of HR were my blind spot. And so I think I'll have to take classes from you guys.
Well, I mean, we didn't create any of this. We just I think we've went out and been constantly growing and learning and find great things that have already been around.
But your companies manage like HR.
Yes.
So you guys wrote the book on how to do that. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So
I guess somewhat, yeah. I wish more of our clients would use. I mean, and some of them do, but use the DISC and the EQ. It just depends on how much you really want to. Like I said, team is really important to me, and that's what I feel like has really been a big part of our success. So I really want to give them tools to improve. So
this is cool. I like it.
And I like your culture here because we spend a lot of time working on our internal culture. I mean, we have a serious business, so we like to make sure that we have fun and we create a light environment and somewhere where people actually want to show up to work,
Absolutely. I mean, because what we do is we have to deal with the IRS and the Department of Workforce Services and insurance companies and government entities. I mean, we deal with all of that red tape and bureaucracy so small business doesn't have to do it. So, I mean, our team members have to deal with a lot of stressful things. And so we really kind of had adopted that work hard, play hard mentality at our office. So.
What are some of the things you guys do to play hard?
We've done so many things.
I mean,
it's the craziest thing.
Last year we did an amazing race that we put together, and all of our team members participated in that, and that was really fun. I mean, we had people wanting to take pictures with our team members because they thought it was the actual amazing race.
Really?
So, yeah, that was really fun.
It takes a lot of energy and discipline to invest into that, right?
I love it. I mean, I think that if I didn't do this business, I would do creating an event, doing stuff like this for people. So team building. And
maybe
stuff like
that's another company you start.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you had a company that could help organize and do those things, I would just hire you guys to help organize that for us because I'm not good at that.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, here's Starbucks cards, everybody, and let's go play video games all night.
Right. I love
it. Doesn't work
like
for everybody.
And it doesn't work. I mean, sometimes some of the things I do, people don't like and they don't show up. But we've done Day of the Dead Halloween parties where we had Salt Lake Community College it was Paul Mitchell's makeup artists come in and they did all of our makeup at the office, and we did a Day of the Dead Halloween party. That was really fun. I mean, and the other fun thing that our team has done for us is every year they give us a yearbook. So of all of the fun things and all of the things that we've done through the years.
Wow.
So like we have.
I'm writing this down
Yeah.
because this is like gold.
We have yearbooks.
Yearbook of fun?
Fun, yeah. So each year they take pictures of all the events that we've done and they put it in a yearbook and give it to us.
You guys sign each other's yearbooks?
No, but you know what's so awesome is our team signs them for us. So everybody on the team signs them and does fun stuff. We've done lip sync battles before where we
I've never heard of all this.
like
This is
where we've done like where I kind of gave everybody a theme and they had to do lip sync. And the funniest one was when we had 3 guys do the Miley Cyrus
Oh, my
wrecking ball.
goodness.
They
Oh,
recreated
no.
the wrecking ball.
Did they wear the wrecking ball outfit?
Yeah. Yes,
they
they
did wear
did.
the wrecking ball outfit.
We'll have to see that video.
Yeah.
And we have a team member that he's in his 80s and he's kind of semi-retired, but I met him like early on in my career and he actually participated in that too.
Wow. Did everyone have to sign a waiver?
No, we should have.
We should have for that one. But
Yeah.
We do this one event, and it's called "What Are You Capable Of?"
Oh.
And you eat really gross things like Fear Factor,
yeah.
stuff like that. And
Oh, that sounds fun.
I couldn't do that, but Flynn could.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do that. A lot of our video game nerds really love that. And
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, like on our trip to Japan, Flynn tried everything.
oh,
Yeah.
really? Ate fish heads and
Yeah,
fish eyeballs.
I ate
and
I
everything.
ate everything.
everything. Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
For anything with soy sauce, you're fine. Put some soy sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to shift gears and ask you guys about. I mean, if you've been in business almost 3 decades, you've had some scary crap happen.
Yes.
What's the scariest thing? The craziest war story, and how did you guys get through it? What was it?
Probably,
There's so many.
yeah, there's
Hey, name this one of the scariest, or a couple, or
What do you
whatever.
think?
probably over the year. I mean, the crash of '08 was traumatic on us.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, our revenue, we just barely bought a building and remodeled a large office space,
And build a new home.
built a new house. I mean, all this stuff in 1 year, and all of a sudden, that happened, and our revenues probably went down.
40%.
Yeah.
And like in 6 months.
We're there with you.
Yeah.
Well, the whole entire world did, right? And I think that, but I think that was so scary, but it actually made us so much better business people because like we learned how to manage and cut and.
We did. We went from basically, we were a company that pretty much, we had very little forward sales push at all. We had so many referrals that we would just wait around and people would come, do
We'd wait for
business
the phone
with
to
us.
ring type thing.
And it worked. I mean, we had enough people coming that it did work. But when that happened, boy, we sharpened the sword. We got good at sales. We got good at management. We had KPIs on everything.
Wow.
I mean, we
started tracking everything. Yeah. So that and that's morphed into like where we do like Arch meetings every Monday where it's like
It's an Arch meeting.
Arch. It's like so it's Arch stands for accountability, reporting, commitment, and help. So each team has like a WIG or a wildly important goal that they're working towards, and so we measure that weekly, and we update it on like scoreboards as far as what they're doing.
I need to just sit on one of these.
So we have
someone's used to.
we have large screens all over the office that have the team wigs and how they're doing and how all the individual team members are contributing.
Wow.
And so
Is this your doing?
No, actually, this was our business coach. So we've had a business coach since 2007. His name is Russell Lukadu. And he's been great,
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. And I think that, we meet with him once a month for a couple hours individually. And then we've both been on business boards with people. Kind of like, I think, didn't you do EO before?
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it was, when we first started, it was called the Alternative Board. And he kind of ran that.
Oh, wow.
And then he exited out of the Alternative Board, and we stayed with him kind of more on a smaller level. So, but
That's it's worth it. It's like a personal coach of business.
yeah.
sometimes it's like therapy. But
Wow. Therapy.
we just talk and he listens. But
So after that big crash, and you guys implemented all this proactive, sales techniques, different things, KPIs, how long did it take for you guys to exceed pre-crash numbers?
So we probably hit, was it 2000?
I think it was 10.
10. I believe it was 10.
Because the other thing that we had to do is a lot of these long-term team members that I was talking about earlier, we sat down and we looked at the numbers and we said, we can't afford to pay you like what we're paying you anymore. So, I mean, it was either like we were having to lay certain people off or everybody was going to have to take a pay decrease. And Flynn and I procrastinated having these discussions with people because we just didn't want to do it to people, but we finally just didn't have enough money. And so we had to do it. So we sat everybody down and said, we can't continue to run this way. We're going to have to ask you to take a pay decrease. But if you do this, this, and this, we think you can get back to it. And every single team member started to exceed that they've met their goals and they got back to that where they were before within a couple of years.
Wow. So we basically put it up on a graph and we just said we have to hit that. And they did. So we did as a team. So it was good.
I got weird advice in 2000. Our revenue was down about 37%, like right after that. And I talked to one of my mentors, and he said, this guy, Mike, awesome dude, and he's like, well, now's your time to go on offensive because everybody else is scared and their heads are in a hole. So what I want you to do is double your marketing budget. I want you to definitely double your marketing budget, and I want you to go on an onslaught. And I want you to go out like it's the best year ever when you make your ads. And I want you to make the ads. I'm like, serious? And he's like, I'm like, we're already hurting, man. And so he goes, trust me. Because he did this back in the early 90s.
Right.
So I went and I did that. And then within literally 12 months, our revenue was exceeding what we were pre-crash because we went this onslaught, and probably 80% of our competitors went bankrupt within a year.
Yeah.
And we ended up hiring the people who own these competitors.
Wow.
And then they became our managers.
Wow.
So our enemies became our friends into our client, because I'm always nice to people, and
sure.
We're frenemies, right? And they all came and worked, and some of these people still work with us today, which is really cool, and it just turned out to be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I think like
scary though.
It was so scary, but I do think that like if you made it through that, it taught you how to be better at business, and then within a year. For us, it was a couple of years, but.
We even noticed it in our clients. Like our clients that were there and made it through that time, they're phenomenal companies today because they went through that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think part of what we do is, with helping people start businesses, we see a lot of different people, and some people start businesses and make it, and some people don't. And it's like you never can look at somebody and say he's going to make it and she's not, or vice versa. It's just, it's the coaching and the mentoring and the having good. And I think Flynn and I realized early on, what our skill sets were, and neither one of us were very good with operations, and so and also in 2000, I think it was 2008, 2007, we brought on a general manager, and she's awesome. She's awesome because she's everything we're not. She's good with, she's consistent, she's good with policies and procedures, and she's good with, because we're entrepreneurs. I mean, Flynn's a serial entrepreneur, and I've just been along for the ride. So yeah.
That's incredible how you guys have progressed. What is I wanted to ask you guys, what's your target client, though? I mean, you guys, is there a certain demographic, a certain, business they're in, that you want as clients?
So it's gotten fairly broad now. We used to almost exclusively work with blue-collar companies, construction, industrial, stuff like that. It's gotten a lot more broad, but that's still kind of our bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think we love help. I think sometimes with small business, right? I always tell people about it's the E-myth, right? Small businesses, they do everything, right? They're doing the marketing and the sales and the accounting and the work, and so they need help. And so what we can do for those businesses is we can give them $1 million worth of payroll, which is what we have, and they're at their as a resource for them. So we can help them with this and we can help them with that. So if you're a small business and you need help with HR and you don't have somebody on staff, that's who or accounting or payroll. And so, I'd say, we have clients as large as 300, but I would say our average client is under 100, and even a big portion of them are under 25, because that's really where people need help. That's where they need to outsource.
It's important, though, to find help, because, if you're small like that, it's so easy just to have total blind spots you're totally ignoring, and then that takes your business out under its legs, you know?
Yeah, well,
So you guys help.
That's exactly the niche that we try to fulfill right there.
well, it's like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're like, no, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this, and so we're that's what our team does for businesses.
I like how you're targeting also, primarily in the beginning, and now you're diversifying out, is the blue collar companies, because a lot of times, you know, though people who have those companies like that are very hardworking people.
Yes.
And they're great at their trade, phenomenal. But when it comes to the business nuances and things that can take you out, it's just they don't know, right?
Yeah, I think blue collar, but small business too. Small businesses love what they do. They love the restaurant, or they want to start a flower shop, or whatever they want, but they don't think of all those other things. So yeah.
This is great. This is just awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna shift gears yet again. My ADD is. So what do you guys do for fun? I mean, you guys are doing awesome. What do you guys?
One of the things that we've always. I mean, I came from a really small town.
We both did.
Yeah, both of us.
Vernal?
Actually, the town that I grew up in is called White Rocks, Utah. It's literally an Indian reservation. So I lived in the middle of nowhere, basically.
His mom still has the house in the middle of nowhere.
You're from similar?
I'm from Roosevelt, which was 20 minutes away.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I used to deliver computers out there once a month.
Oh, yeah, so you know where it's at. Yeah. Yeah, and so...
So basically, one of the things that I always wanted to do is I wanted to see the world, you know, because really all I'd seen up to about 18 years old was, you know, maybe Salt Lake City at the most. So we left
California.
Yeah, California, you know, once or twice. But so I always wanted to see the world, and we've definitely been able to do that.
Yeah. So, because I think Flint, we just hit like our 50th country that we've been to.
Yeah, you guys are everywhere.
So,
yeah.
But it's been really interesting. I think it's made the world a lot smaller, and when we travel, it's like we're all more alike and I think sometimes, you know, you read the news or you think it's so far away and you think people are so different than you, and they're not. We're all just doing the best we can. So
this is cool.
Yeah. So
you guys have experienced most of the stuff on your bucket list as far as travel?
Oh, I still have a ton more.
I got a big list.
Yeah. There's a lot of places I still want to see. It's just time, you know.
Both of you guys have a very giving heart. You put out that giving, caring energy. What causes are important to you guys right now? Things that mean a lot to you.
So we've worked a lot with just coming from the background of having a teenage pregnancy. We've done a lot with like the women's YWCA.
Yeah. I also I'm that's really near and dear to my heart. So when I was actually only a junior in high school when I got pregnant, and we moved to Salt Lake the day after we got married, because we knew we wouldn't make it living in this small town with all of our friends and the negative, you know, we just knew we weren't going to make it. And Flynn was graduated anyway, so he didn't want to live there. Yeah. So we moved to Salt Lake the day after we got married, and I'm a pretty confident person. I thought I can go to school at Granite High School, and I was pregnant and married, and I didn't know anybody, and it was hell. I mean, it was hell. Nobody talked to me. I didn't have any really friends, and who's this girl, and she's pregnant, and I was like, I can't do this. And I literally pulled out the phone book, and I looked under Granite School District, because I was like, I got to talk to a counselor or something, and I found a teen parent program.
Whoa.
And so I went and saw this teen parent program, and it was literally like a duplex down the street from Granite High School. And I walk into it, and you walk in, and there's like tables like this, and there's cribs all around the tables, and they have teachers up at the front of the room teaching.
No way.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is what I need right now for myself, because I can't make it here.
Yeah.
So I went to that teen parent school, and I was only a junior, and I was always a good student, so it was quite easy for me. So I finished my senior year just doing packets and stuff like that, and got done early. But that school was just like such a big deal for me. I'm gonna get a little emotional.
No, that's cool.
So
you guys are helping with that a lot.
Yeah. So I think that like young moms need help. So
that's a big deal.
Sorry.
So where can people go to help contribute to that particular cause?
So YWCA they have a website, and you know they always are looking for volunteers, and I think they get like half their money from grants and government, and then they get the rest of their money through public donations and things like that. So
That's critical, because if you didn't find that, I mean, where would you be?
yeah, and I actually didn't find YWCA. I found something else, but they used to have a teen parent program, and their teens are still in part of that program. So that's where I found is the best way to give back right now.
It's super common. There's a lot of people in that same situation.
And the other thing that they do is they help with women that come from like domestic violence, and they just not just women. They have a domestic violence like outsource center where like anybody can go there.
Wow.
So and it's right down on like 3rd South and 3rd East. So it's a great organization. So I just had lunch with Amberly on Tuesday, and it's just like, how can we help?
Wow.
So
That's an awesome cause, though. That's great. So where do you guys go from now? So apparently, from what I see, finances are not a problem. You guys could sell your company, retire, whatever you want to do. So where are you guys? What's happening in the future?
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
So we've just spent a lot of time working with our long-term team members and building them up. So it is interesting when you kind of get to that point where you're fairly comfortable, and so what is next? And I think that's what's next for us. I mean, we just barely started. We've always done some things on the accounting side. So we started a CPA part of the business to kind of complete that.
Found a really great partner that is a CPA, and so we started integrated accounting and integrated CPA. So that's the next step, right? Helping people have good financial numbers.
That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done bits and pieces of it, but I can't tell you how many small businesses over the years I've seen fail because they were losing money and they didn't know they were losing money. And so
We had really crappy numbers for the first decade and a half, like terrible, because it was me doing QuickBooks,
right.
and I'm terrible at QuickBooks. But we got a great CFO, and he fixed us.
Yeah. Well, that's important because that's how you know whether you're going to make it or not. So it's so we had a great meeting with him yesterday, and we're going to work on some like affordable online education for people so they can like be able to learn how to do QuickBooks, and if they have a new office manager, and so just to help in it, or we can do it for them. But I mean, most importantly, we want to just give people tools so they can successfully run their business. I mean, one of our ethos that we have in our company is, we have 3. We make doing business simple. We want everybody to have success, financial success, and we genuinely care for our team and our clients.
That's
and
awesome.
make everyone feel important.
This is great.
So I think that the success one is like by having people have strong financial numbers and either know how to do it themselves, or if we can be a resource for them, that's what we're going to focus on and really grow the next few years. So
This is cool.
yeah. So
I want you guys to leave the audience with maybe a few tips of advice. A lot of our viewers out there are entrepreneurs. A lot of them are thinking about starting their own business. Mm-hmm. Can you give them some of your wisdom and advice? Maybe just a couple very strong things that will help them on their journey.
Something that comes to my mind that was a problem for me originally is take some time to work on yourself and your relationships, because it's very easy, especially if you start a business, it's really easy to just put your head down and in the war of getting things done and making money, you just neglect everything else, whether it's your spouse or your health or you just neglect everything personal. And I think people have a tendency to think that that's not going to matter, that, I can get this, I'm going to make $1 million and then I'll go fix it. And I just think that it's easy to push that too far. So my advice is take a step back, take care of yourself, and take care of your relationships.
That's smart.
and I think Flynn hit it with health, right? Like you got to take care of yourself. With daily exercise, or
You guys are fit. You guys look like you're like 25. Look at you guys.
we're not. We've made health a priority. We do fun things at work too. Like we just did a Beat the Boss challenge, and we had DEXA body scan come out and measure all of our body fat.
Wow.
And so if anybody beats Flynn and I, we give them $100 for beating
Really?
us. Yeah.
It's bragging rights, right?
You guys doing keto right now or something?
No, we just healthy eating and yoga. But for me, I think constantly learning has been my biggest thing. Like Flynn's always like, what did you sign up for now? Because I'm always joining groups and like wanting to go learn and go to seminars and stuff like that. So I think that that's what I love, is the constantly learning, because we're not neither one of us finished college. We're not, so like it's kind of I feel like I'm in the school of life. So that's
a common thing with all the people that have visited us on my podcast here is most did a little bit of college or no college, or business did so good, just dropped out because the business was way better than they expected.
Yeah. And
cool.
it's interesting because, we've encouraged, of our 4 children, 2 have graduated from college and the other 2, that's not for them, and so it's not for everybody, but I love the constantly learning thing, like signing up for this and that. And it's not just always around our business. Like I'll go to classes for insurance or payroll or compliance or whatever, and I learn from those, but it's also like Flynn said, like learning about yourself and like, I love to read, so we've read. I love like Depop books.
Oh yeah.
Flynn's mom gave me the 7 Habits of Success.
Oh yeah, that's great.
In 1995, and it's still I just pull it out and read it. It's great.
Wow.
So yeah, read a lot, learn a lot. That's what I would recommend.
This is great. I'm going to summarize for everybody what I've learned from you guys.
Okay.
The DISC test is actually a great one. People could probably Google that, look more into that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a test. I would say like a DISC assessment.
Assessment.
Yeah, because I think tests kind of scare people,
Assessment.
right?
Okay, so that's a great thing, and then you could know who you're talking to and how you need to interact with them. Mm-hmm. The EQ, emotional intelligence, is important. That's a book, right?
Yeah, it's a book. Yeah, and I don't know the author, but you can just Google it. And
Google that, friends.
Yeah.
I really like what you guys said about focusing on culture, and you've had employees there a long time. Create a yearbook of fun, lip sync battles, fun things like that. Document that. That's really cool. I'm going to start doing that more.
Yeah, we should have brought one. We'll show you. Yeah.
Wow. And then the 3 things you just shared is working on yourself and relationships, not forgetting that as an entrepreneur. Boy, I almost wrecked my marriage on the way because I ignored relationship and myself. I actually got really super pudgy and everything just went crappy. And one of my mentors said, Dan, I just want you to think about this. Do you want to be like a billionaire, like a really, really super obese dude, bald in a BMW that dies of a heart attack at a red light? Or you're using the restroom and you pass out because you have an aneurysm at 40? You want that to happen? And I'm like, no. He's like, same thing. So health,
right.
And you guys are showing that great example. So health, focus on that. And then constant learning. So constantly reading, taking classes, making your brain stronger.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Where can people find you guys?
Phone number or website? What do you want?
Your company, or
yeah.
if they want to know about you, whether it's personally or company, whatever you guys want to share with people so they can get to know you guys, do business with you.
Sure. Yeah. So probably it's Integrated Solutions, and our phone number is 801-487-3000. And cell phone, is the best way to get us because we'll answer anywhere. That's what I love about technology's amazing. Like when we're in Japan, we can still be traveling the world and you can still take care of people and clients and stuff.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah,
so cell
awesome.
phone, 801-455-8542.
Can you, these guys,
And what's your cell phone?
So 801-381-7521.
Wow. These guys are so transparent and awesome. Be like them when you be big, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. It has been so awesome.
Thank you.
This is like killer wisdom. All right, friends. We've had 2 great friends here today sharing their wisdom and super Jedi knowledge with you. And literally have built an empire out of nothing. And they're very, very humble people, but these guys literally make millions of dollars, as well as why you probably follow my podcast. And we're not trying to sell you anything with this. There's no ads, there's no commercials. It's just a way for us to all pay it forward to you. How can you repay us? Well, execute. Write this down, listen to this, watch this thing over and over and over and execute and actually do it. Get off your butt and execute this stuff. And share it with your loved ones and friends that may be able to benefit it as well. As you know, you can find Dan's Millionaire Code podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Store, Google Play, Spotify, everywhere. So if you like it, rate it well and share it. So have an awesome week. I appreciate you guys and gals. Start executing.
Awesome. We need to be better with social media. We're so bad.
Yeah, you guys are great. I will share you guys, if you like the super high resolution raw files in Dropbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys can take cuts and excerpts for your people.
That
Or,
would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Yeah.
And maybe your people want to hear your story too. That's how I got my stories. I got a podcast.
Yeah.
And I just
We shared it with them because I think like everybody's like, oh, I want a Tesla, and I'm like, guys, we've been bankrupt. We've had cars repossessed. You know, like
When I first started that business, Dan, out on Redwood Road, there was a time where right before we made money, right, because I mean, we basically had nothing. We didn't even have furniture when we came out here.
yeah, we used to pawn shit to.
And
that's what we did.
Yeah.
Part of my wife's graduation gift for TV.
We pawned our skis to pay for diapers.
So anyway, I'm sitting there with employees in the building, and the wrecking car literally comes up and tows my car away. The month before,
crap.
I made enough money to fix all those problems.
Yeah. So and then we had another car, and so like we kind of told our story and videoed it for people because people think, oh, Teri and Flynn, they travel all the time, they have a Tesla, they have this house, and I'm like, you guys don't even know anything about us. We used to pawn shit. We had cars repossessed. We've had to file bankruptcy over not having health insurance. And so
People see sometimes just the rosy, nice side of things, but they don't realize that you've been dragged to the mud and been punched in the face.
we wanted to kill each other. We barely made it through the first 10 years of our marriage.
Wow. You guys really have grown.
So-
Wow. I'm impressed with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to go do some sushi. I'll bring my wife.
Yeah, we'd love to meet her. Yeah.
Get some sushi.
It was cool. I watched the podcast, the number 1 podcast on there about your story too. That's really
Oh, my original one?
Yeah.
I was making all the
Pretty
mistakes and all. I'm all deer headlights.
I loved it. It was really raw and real and great.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
you bet.
This is-